The steps of the courthouse shine in the morning light, but the air is thick, pregnant with that kind of silence that always precedes a break. Reporters cluster outside, microphones aloft, cameras firing, their voices reverberating off the marble. Within, the courtroom is filled. Sister wives, fans, reporters, even passers-by. Everyone is eager to catch a glimpse of what brought the Brown family into court today. Kody Brown sits next to Robyn at the defense table, jaw clenched, eyes scanning face after face as if looking for someone to blame. Robyn's mascara is smudged a bit as she whispers something to him, her hands shaking. On the other side of them, Meri Brown sits motionless, too motionless. Her serenity unnerves, comes close to being chilling. You can see it in her eyes. She's not here for revenge. She's here for justice. The judge walks in and the room stands. When he is seated, all sound disappears save for the distant whir of the ceiling fan. Court is now in session, the bailiff says. Case number 24-1162, Brown versus Brown. Whispers spread along the benches. The prosecutor, a steely-eyed woman in a blue suit, rises. Your Honor, she starts, this isn't about TV or fame. It's about lies, manipulation, and a truth that has been hidden for decades. Kody fidgets in his chair, his confidence normally so smooth and polished now raw, fear. The imagination camera pans to Meri. She's in a dark green blazer, representative maybe of healing, but her gaze is on Kody. They had it all. A life, a family, and a dream that seemed so picturesque on television. Behind the camera, the dream became something sinister. Meri's lawyer stands. We intend to prove that Mr. Brown and Mrs. Robyn Brown deliberately falsified legal documents and concealed vital family information, he says. Information that directly affects the paternity of one of the Brown children. The audience gasps. Robyn's eyes widen. Kody slams his fist lightly on the table, whispering, "This is ridiculous." But the judge raises a hand. Mr. Brown, control yourself. You'll have your turn. For an instant, Kody's glare vacillates from the judge to Meri. The tension between them is thick as glass. Meri breathes slowly and stands, her voice shaking a little at first. I didn't come here to hurt anyone, she says. But after years of deception, after being constructed as the villain, I had the epiphany that the truth doesn't care about our reputation. The truth only cares about being spoken. Her words resonate. You can feel the change in the room, the tension shifting from shock to compassion. Even Christine, sitting silently in the audience, blinks a tear from her eye. The prosecutor takes a step closer. Mrs. Brown, can you explain to the court what prompted you to bring this case? Meri nods. It began when Robyn and Kody filed for legal custody documents years back. Things didn't click. Dates, signatures, even the DNA test that would definitively prove something. It all seemed off. So I investigated further. She pulls out a folder and pushes it down the table. Inside are outdated documents, court stamps, and a sealed envelope labeled confidential evidence. The judge looks down, then over to the clerk. Please document that into the record. Kody takes a harsh breath, scratching his forehead. Robyn gets up close and whispers, don't say anything please. But her eyes give her away. They're guilty looking. The courtroom comes alive with tension. The judge turns to Meri's lawyer. What specifically do you think was misrepresented? Your Honor, the attorney says, we have reason to believe that DNA results used in a prior adoption case were manipulated, results concerning one of the Brown children. We'll show how this deception not only violated the law but tore this family apart. Gasps again. Robyn shakes her head, whispering under her breath, No, that's not true. Kody leans forward, his voice low but seething. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't see the pain you're inflicting. Meri turns to him, tears shining. No, Kody, she whispers. You don't know the pain you inflicted when you lied. The room falls quiet once more. For the first time, Kody appears uncertain, trapped. The judge coughs. We'll have a brief recess before we move on with the first witness. When the gavel comes down, Robyn stands up sharply, tears streaming down her face. She glances at Kody, whispering, They know, Kody. She discovered everything. Kody is holding her elbow tightly. Don't break now. If you lose it here, we're done. Meri sits in silence across the room, a mask for her face. She's not gloating. She's recalling. The years of being silenced, gaslit, replaced. Every lie they told to make her feel small. Christine comes up to her during recess. "Are you sure you want to do this?" she whispers. Meri nods. "I'm not doing this for revenge. I'm doing this so I can finally breathe again." Christine averts her eyes, her own eyes welling up. "Then breathe, Meri. Just prepare yourself for what's next." When court reconvenes, the first witness is called. A private investigator Meri retained months earlier. He approaches, a gray-haired man in his 50s with serene confidence. "State your name for the record." "Thomas Rayburn, licensed investigator, Las Vegas, Nevada." The prosecutor smiles. "Mr. Rayburn, can you inform the court what your investigation found regarding the DNA documents in question?" He nods. "We found that 2 different DNA reports were available. One produced for the court and one retained on a private basis by a medical technician. The signatures did not correspond, and the dates of the tests varied by almost 6 months." The courtroom comes to life again. Robyn's lips tremble as she whispers, "They weren't supposed to see that." Kody pounds his hand on the table once more. "This is ridiculous. Those were official documents." The judge's gavel cracks. "Mr. Brown, one more outburst and I'll find you in contempt. Sit down." Kody sits, but his rage is seething. You can see it in the way he clenches his jaw, the way his knuckles whiten. In the meantime, Meri doesn't bat an eye. She's tired of being intimidated by him. The prosecutor moves forward once more. "Mr. Rayburn, what does that mean?" "It means," he replies unambiguously, "that one of those tests was manipulated to hide the biological reality of a child's parentage." An audible gasp fills the room. The judge glances at Kody and Robyn, then at Meri. "Whose child do we discuss?" The lawyer smiles weakly. "That, Your Honor, will come out when we introduce the official DNA report tomorrow." The judge nods solemnly. "Very well." Court adjourned until morning. The gavel falls once more, but this time the ring seems heavier. Final. Kody rises slowly, scowling at Meri. "You think this makes you strong? You have no idea what you've started." Meri merely turns, picking up her papers. "Maybe for once, Kody. I've started something honest." As she exits, the reporters surge ahead. Flashbulbs detonate and questions assail her. "Harry, is the DNA child Robyn's?" "Kody, are you denying the results?" But Meri doesn't say a word. She simply continues down those marble steps, head held high, leaving chaos in her wake. Outside, Christine and Janelle stand in silence alongside the courthouse door. They say nothing. They just gaze at her with sadness and respect. Because deep inside they know, this is just the start. The courthouse is different the following morning. The crowd outside has doubled, reporters standing shoulder to shoulder as the Brown family enters the heavy wooden doors for a second time. There is tension in each movement, the kind that does not come from gossip or fame, but fear of what is about to be exposed. Within, the courtroom is abuzz with murmurs. Is this Robyn's kid? Did Meri actually have evidence? Why is Christine back here again? The atmosphere is heavy, almost charged. Robyn is seated with her head down, hands nodding nervously in her lap. Kody's expression is impassive. No anger, no sorrow, just empty. But his eyes flash to Meri every few seconds, like a man anticipating an explosion he knows he can't prevent. Meri enters with quiet confidence, lawyer by her side. She doesn't glance at Kody, doesn't have to. The power has shifted. The judge enters and the courtroom stands. Once everyone is seated, the prosecutor approaches. "Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call its next witness, Mrs. Christine Brown." Shock waves resonate through the room. Christine, who is Kody's third wife, stands up slowly from her chair. She is reluctant but calm. She briefly looks at Janelle, who nods in solidarity. Then she heads to the podium, her heels clicking down the tile floor. Once she takes the oath, she clasps her hands together and breathes deeply. "Mrs. Brown," the prosecutor starts, "you were in the Brown family for almost 3 decades. Can you inform the court about what you witnessed over all that time, particularly about the relationship between Mr. and Mrs. Robyn Brown?" Christine slowly nods. "When Robyn came into the family, things shifted. She wasn't another wife. Kody treated her differently. The rest of us stepped into the background. But it wasn't emotional favoritism. There were secrets, papers signed in secret, calls taken in secret. Things that didn't add up. Kody tightens his jaw but does not speak. Did you ever have a suspicion about the family's legal papers? Asks the prosecutor. Christine pauses. No, not then. But afterwards, when I was leaving, Meri said she had discovered discrepancies in Robyn's adoption documents. It was as if some dates were rewritten, and one name on the form wasn't Robyn's handwriting. The audience gasps. The prosecutor moves in closer. And do you know whose writing it was? Christine gulps. Kody's. Kody changes, his face flushing red. He speaks under his breath. You don't know what you're talking about. But Christine goes on, her voice firm now. I do, Kody. I know what I saw. You altered that paper to cover for her, to cover up a secret. The judge leans forward. Mr. Brown, you'll have an opportunity to respond later. For now, be silent. Christine's eyes glisten as she looks toward Meri. She tried to talk to him so many times, but he wouldn't listen. He made her feel like she was the problem when all she wanted was honesty. Meri nods slightly, her eyes soft but tired. The prosecutor holds up a binder. Your Honor, we have phone records and text messages that corroborate Mrs. Brown's testimony. Messages between Kody and a medical assistant from the DNA testing center, sent days before the results were filed. That sentence lands like a ton of bricks. Robyn's lips quiver. No, please don't read them out loud, she whispers, but it's too late. The prosecutor reads from one of the messages. Make sure the report states what we spoke about. This must correlate with the adoption papers or the whole thing is over. The courtroom breaks out into whispers. Kody's attorney protests, yelling, those are taken out of context, but the damage is already done. The judge pounds on the gavel. Order in the court. Meri doesn't blink. She simply sits straight ahead. After the strained silence, Robyn stands up abruptly. Tears stream down her face as she faces the judge. Your Honor, I just can't do this anymore. They're making everything up. Kody was just trying to defend our family. He didn't intend for it to get this far. The judge's tone slightly softens. Mrs. Brown, you're indicating there was a manipulation of the DNA report? Robyn pauses. Her lips open then shut. She glances at Kody, who regards her silently, a threat in his eyes. She dabs away the tears and speaks softly. I can't reply to that. The judge sighs. Then sit down, Mrs. Brown. But you should realize, silence is eloquent. As Robyn sits, Meri's attorney whispers something into her ear. She nods slowly and gets up. Your Honor, she states, we'd like to enter into evidence the second DNA report, the one discovered by the investigator. This is the original version. The bailiff brings the envelope to the judge. The tension is palpable. You can practically hear the hearts pounding in that room. The judge slowly opens the folder, reading the pages. His face changes, surprise then shock. He clears his throat. These reports do not agree. One indicates Kody Brown is the father. The other indicates, not consistent, DNA exclusion. The audience gasps in shock. Robyn gives a stifled sob, covering her mouth with her hands. Kody's face goes white. Who does the biological father indicate? The prosecutor asks. The judge hesitates. It doesn't say. The second test simply proves that Kody Brown is not the father. The room explodes in whispers and shouts. The bailiff yells for order, but the chaos has already taken over. Cameras flash, reporters scribble notes furiously. Kody finally snaps. This is a setup. Meri's been jealous for years. She's doing this to destroy me. Meri holds firm. You blew yourself up, Kody. All I did was stop pretending it never happened. Her words hover in the air like a knife. Robyn starts blubbering. I didn't want this. I didn't know he changed it. I thought it was real, she wails. The judge bangs down his gavel and calls for recess. Court will reconvene after lunch. We'll handle this evidence properly. Back within, Kody walks the vacant hallway, cursing under his breath. They won't steal everything from me. They can't. Robyn wipes her face, whispering, maybe they already have. For an instant, their gazes lock. The man who fashioned a life on control, and the woman who assisted him in maintaining it. There's no love there, only terror. The reporters yell questions as Meri descends the courthouse steps. Meri, Are you saying Kody is not the father? What's next? Meri hesitates for a moment and gazes directly into the cameras. What's next, she states calmly, is that the truth finally speaks for itself. And as she exits, the gallery erupts, because everybody knows tomorrow when the medical witness he slams the gavel and the entire room stands. As the courtroom is cleared, Robyn slumps into her seat, shaking. Kody storms out of there, photographers following him down the hallway. Christine and Janelle look at each other, half in pity, half in incredulity. Meri steps outside into the sunlight of the afternoon. She stands there for a moment, breathing long and deep as if for the first time in years. Christine steps out beside her. So it's true, she whispers. He's not the father. Meri nods, her tone subdued. It's not about the DNA, Christine. It's about all that we lost believing a lie. The sun of the afternoon has disappeared behind clouds that are gray. The Browns are back in court. Outside, the atmosphere is grimmer, denser. Umbrellas shelter reporters. Light flashes slice through the rain as questions sip. Inside, the courtroom is chillier. Blinds are half-drawn, filtering out the daylight. The crowd sits in stillness, an air charged with the potential for disclosure. Kody sits stiffly at the defense table, a tempest raging in his eyes. Robyn's face is white, her fingers locked so hard her knuckles bleach. Meri enters last, her face serene but her heart pounding in her chest. She's prepared, but she knows the truth could consume them all. The judge settles into his chair. Court is now in session. The prosecution may call its next witness. The prosecutor steps back. Your Honor, the state calls Dr. Elena Marquez, director of the Nevada Forensic Laboratory. A tall woman in a gray suit advances, confidence oozing from every movement. She takes the oath, pushes up her glasses and faces the judge. Dr. Marquez, can you tell us about your involvement in this case? Yes, she answers. I oversaw the genetic testing that generated both DNA reports and issue. A hushed gasp runs through the courtroom. This is it, the moment we've all been waiting for. The prosecutor approaches the evidence table, picking up 2 envelopes. Dr. Marquez, are these reports that you reviewed? Yes, ma'am. The left one is the one that was changed and submitted all those years ago. The right one is the original unchanged report that we have archived in our digital files. Can you explain to the court how these reports are different? Dr. Marquez opens a folder. The doctored report alters the paternal probability from 0% to 99.98%, a flat-out forgery. The technician's signature had been copied electronically. The timestamps on the DNA scans were doctored as well. Kody grumbles under his breath. This is absurd. The judge gives him a stare. Mr. Brown, you will be quiet. Robyn buries her face in her hands, whispering, Oh God, oh God. The prosecutor draws near. And who requested the initial test, doctor? Meri Brown, Dr. Marquez responds. She asked for verification because of discrepancy in documents in an adoption check. Everyone turns to Meri. She looks back at them serenely, but her throat constricts. I just wanted the truth, she whispers. The prosecutor nods. Dr. Marquez, can you verify if the doctored version of the report was actually handed in by the clinic? No, she insists. It was sent on a personal email account tracked back to Mr. Kody Brown's attorney at the time. Gasps spread again. Kody's attorney stands up. Objection. We have not had it verified as to whether this allegation is true. Overruled, says the judge. The proof holds until rebutted by counterproof. Kody sits forward, his voice shaking with rage. You're turning this around. I was keeping my family safe. That's all. Meri glances at him. Protecting or pretending, Kody? The sentence slices through the silence. Robyn jumps up, her tears uncontrollable. Stop it. He did it for me. For us. He thought that telling the truth would ruin all we built. The judge waves her back down, but she doesn't sit. Her voice breaks. I didn't know whose child it was at first. I swear I didn't. The courtroom freezes. Every reporter lifts their phone to record. Meri's lawyer steps forward quietly. Mrs. Brown, are you saying the child's biological father is someone else? Robyn covers her face. Yes, she whispers. Before I married Kody, there was someone. I thought it didn't matter anymore. But when the test came back, Kody said no one could ever find out. Kody bangs his hand down on the table. You said you'd never tell. The judge bangs the gavel. Mr. Brown, control yourself. Meri relaxes back, her eyes shining but firm. After all these years of shame, the truth is no longer hers to bear. It's theirs. The prosecutor swallows hard. Dr. Marquez, who does the unrevised report identify as the biological father? The doctor pauses, looking at the judge. Respond to the question, the judge demands. Dr. Marquez exhales. The DNA of a man named Paul Howard. By the records, he was a contractor for the Brown family production company in Flagstaff some 12 years ago. There is a gasp of collective shock. Robyn dissolves into tears. Kody's eyes widen, then close in incredulity. Paul Howard. Impossible. The prosecutor presents a photo taken from the records. A gentleman shaking hands with Kody in an ancient sister wives behind-the-scenes photo. Meri whispers as much to herself, so it was him. The courtroom erupts into uncontrollable chaos. The judge makes a call for order again, but it is bedlam. Robyn cries into a tissue. Kody appears devastated, his pride hemorrhaging out more quickly than his rage can capture it. Meri sits still, tears hovering but blinking them away. There is no triumph here, just gratitude that the charade is over at last. As the commotion dies down, the judge turns to the witness. Dr. Marquez, to your professional judgment, was there any scientific error in these findings? None at all, Your Honor. The evidence is unassailable. The judge nods solemnly. Then it seems a grave fraud has been perpetrated. Kody stands, his voice shaking. You don't understand. This family was founded on faith, not science. Those tests don't mean anything compared to what we lived. Meri finally finds her voice, calm but with decades of fatigue. You built it on control, Kody. Faith doesn't need lies. The judge glances at both of them. This court will recess for an hour. When we reconvene, we'll hear the charges of document tampering and falsification. He strikes the gavel. Newspaper people dash up immediately. Cameras blind the room. Robyn is led out by her attorney, crying. Kody pushes through the cameras, growling, "It's all lies. All of it." Outside in the hallway, Meri stands with her eyes closed, bracing against the wall. Christine comes up behind her, holding out a bottle of water. You okay? Meri weakly nods. It doesn't feel like a win. Feels like losing twice as much. Christine exhales. Sometimes you need to lose everything to remember who you are. They remain on the bench in the hall in silence. Down the corridor, Robyn's wails resonate off the marble. Janelle arrives about a minute later. Reporters are quoting this might become a criminal case, she whispers. Meri gazes at her hands. It already was, Janelle. Just not the kind that you bring to court. When recess is over, the Browns return to the courtroom, each of them transformed, older in heart. The crowd is restless. Even the judge appears tired, as if presiding over something holy. Mr. Brown, he starts, before we proceed, do you have anything to say in connection with these results? Kody's voice is rough. I thought I could defend my family. But perhaps all I defended was my pride. Robyn quietly weeps at his side. Meri observes but does not speak. The judge slowly nods. This court will reconvene tomorrow for closing arguments and possible sentencing recommendations. He rises. In the meantime, I recommend that you all consider what truth costs, and what lies actually purchase. The gavel rings out a final time for the day. Meri stands up, collecting her belongings. Emerging into the waning light, a reporter shouts, Meri, how does it feel knowing everything's finally out? She hesitates on the courthouse steps, rain pattering against her coat. Feels quiet, she says quietly. Like a storm finally passing. The cameras snap, but she doesn't glance over her shoulder. She strides into the drizzle, head held high, shoulders shaking just enough to demonstrate she's human. The courthouse the next morning towers under a battered sky. The clouds linger low, weighed down with rain that never quite materializes, as if the heavens are themselves poised to judge how the truth will fall. The Browns come separately today. No clap-together car, no anxious whispers. Just the quiet sound of footwear on marble floors. Reporters fill the steps again, microphones reaching like spears. Kody, do you regret keeping the DNA results secret? Meri, are you suing? Robyn, is it true that you've filed for separation? No one responds. The tension accompanies them. Inside, the courtroom buzzes with anticipation. Even the audience, journalists, former followers, ex-pals, can sense that today is not only about law. It's about judgment. The judge comes in, his robe billowing behind him like a dark shadow on the floor. Court is now in session. We reconvene the hearing in the case of Brown versus Brown. Meri sits erect, her fingers intertwined. Christine and Janelle sit in silent witness behind her in support. Kody will not look at them. Robyn's face is white, eyes puffy from a sleepless night. The prosecutor stands first. Your Honor, in closing arguments, the state would like to present one last bit of evidence. An audio tape received legally by subpoena. Kody's attorney rises immediately. Objection. We haven't heard this tape. Overruled, responds the judge. Go on, counselor. The prosecutor approaches and hits play. The court is filled with the crackling voice, Kody's voice. If someone discovers that report was altered, we lose everything. The show, the sponsors, the family. Just do it, Robyn. I'll deal with Meri. A room full of gasps rushes through the room like dry leaves in the wind. Robyn's face contorts. He didn't say it like that. She breathes. Kody tightens his grip on the table. That was out of context. I was defending you. The prosecutor spares him a glance. Defending her or manipulating her? Kody bangs his fist. You have no idea what it's like when your entire life is made into entertainment. All the errors shared with millions. Meri says a word at last. Perhaps you shouldn't have constructed your family on a camera lens. The judge nods to the defense. You may respond. Kody's lawyer adjusts his tie. Your Honor, the tape is not in context. My client was in extreme emotional distress. This was a domestic private conversation, not a criminal plot. The judge looks at Kody. Mr. Brown, do you want to testify before we proceed to closing statements? Kody pauses. Everyone waits with bated breath. At last he rises. I do. He makes his way to the stand slowly, shoulders braced like a man approaching combat. He raises his right hand and affirms the oath and glances out at the court. At Meri, at Robyn, at the faces that had once said husband to him. When I began this family, I thought I was constructing something holy. A family that could weather anything, even criticism, even judgment. He hesitates, voice shaking. But somewhere along the line, I began to defend my wives and began to defend my image. He glances at Meri. You were my first love. I let pride ruin that. He turns to Robyn, his eyes shining with tears. And you. I tried to make everything all right by pretending we were perfect. But perfection was a lie. He breathes deeply. I didn't intend to do something wrong. I intended to prevent the world from shattering us. But perhaps it's too late for that. The court is quiet. Even the judge appears to be overcome. Then in the background, Meri's soft voice interrupts the silence. Kody, it wasn't the world that broke us up. It was the lying we did to one another. The prosecutor gets up. Mr. Brown, you've just confessed to falsifying public and legal records. Do you realize how serious that is? Kody slumps. Yes. The judge lets out a sigh. Very well. We'll hear closing arguments before making the court's recommendation. The prosecutor's tone is firm but controlled. Your Honor, this case is not about a forged report. It's about power, control, and lying. It's about a man who thought he could bend truth itself to protect his world. But no one, no matter what his name is on TV, is above the law. She sits. Kody's attorney stands next. Your Honor, my client is not a mastermind criminal. He's a broken man who made desperate decisions in the spotlight. We request leniency and out of compassion for the sake of the family. The judge nods. I will recess momentarily before rendering my decision. He exits the bench. Kody sits shaking. Robyn grips his arm, whispering, I'm so sorry. Meri, on the other hand, closes her eyes. A tear rolls down her cheek. Christine gives her a gentle squeeze on the shoulder. He did it, Meri. You faced him. I didn't do it to win, Meri whispers. I did it so the truth could breathe again. The judge comes back within 15 minutes. The entire courtroom rises. He clears his throat. After considering all evidence, testimonies, and recordings, This court holds Mr. Kody Brown guilty of document forgery and obstruction of verification processes. Yet, since the nature of the act is not an attempt to obtain monetary gain or physical injury, the court is not going to sentence him to jail time. Kody shuts his eyes in relief. Instead, the judge goes on, Mr. Brown will be fined $50,000 and ordered to make a public confession of wrongdoing. In addition, all of the adoption records are to be corrected and unsealed. The gavel comes down. Court is adjourned. A buzz fills the room. Reporters dash for the doors to be the first to break the news. Meri gets up, her body shaking but her eyes bright. She looks at Kody. That's it. It's over. Kody weakly nods. I never wanted to hurt you. You didn't hurt me, Kody, she says quietly. You just reminded me how powerful I can be without you. Robyn cries silently. What do we do now? Meri glances at her, then at the vacant witness stand. Now we speak the truth. No cameras, no script. Outside, the rain at last begins to fall. Lightly at first, then uniformly, washing the courthouse steps clean. Meri enters it, her hair wet, her heart lighter than it's been in years. Christine follows her with a faint smile. You think it's finally over? Christine asks. Meri nods. Maybe not for them. But for me, it's a fresh start. They stand together in the rain, away from the flashing lights, the microphones, the din of fame and defeat. Inside the courthouse, Kody waits alone. Robyn's been escorted away by her lawyer. The courtroom is deserted except for him. He looks at the witness stand, the site where his truth finally emerged. He mutters, perhaps it had to end this way. And out the window through the rain-soaked glass he sees Meri pull away. No hate. No bitterness. Just the subdued recognition that sometimes the only way to achieve peace is to lose control. The steps of the courthouse are almost vacant now. The cameras are gone, the crowd is scattered, but the reverberations of the trial linger like smoke after flames. Behind the doors, the corridors are quieter, bereft of the mayhem that filled the way only a few days ago. But the quiet isn't peace, it's aftermath. Kody Brown walks down the corridor, his shoes tapping against the cold marble. For the first time in years, there are no wives waiting beside him, no producers with clipboards, no cameras rolling. Just the weight of consequence and the sound of his own breath. He passes by the courtroom doors one last time. The bench is empty now, but he can still hear Meri's voice in his mind. You didn't hurt me, Kody. You reminded me how strong I can be without you. He takes a deep breath, grounding himself. The world outside will devour this tale alive. But here in this empty hallway he's simply a man standing in front of what he created, and what he destroyed. Outside, reporters stand under umbrellas, their microphones watered with rain. When Kody comes out, flashes flash again like thunderbolts. Kody, do you regret it? Kody, apologize publicly, will you? Is the family finished for good? He remains silent. His car door closes and the car drives off in the rain. Meanwhile, back over town, Meri sits by herself in a tiny coffee shop. No glam squad, no microphones. Just a hot cup between her hands. The pressure on her chest is lighter now, but it still hurts. Her phone rings. It's a text message from Janelle. You did what none of us could. Proud of you. Meri smiles gently. Then another text, Christine. When one of us finds her voice, we all do. Her eyes water with tears. It's strange, she says to herself. After all these years, it took a courtroom to finally set me free. Later that afternoon, the Browns' tale engulfs every network. Kody Brown guilty of record falsification. DNA scandal rocks sister wives' world. Meri Brown speaks truth in emotional trial. Clips are featured on talk shows, podcasts, and YouTube channels. Everyone's got an opinion, but none of them have a clue what it was like to be inside that courtroom. At home, Robyn sits in silence and watches the coverage. The kids play quietly in the next room, feeling the tension they can't quite put their finger on. The TV flashes on her tearful face on the witness stand. She winces, turning off the TV. He sits facing her. They're never going to stop, are they? No, she answers quietly. Because we gave them a story that never ends. He exhales. Perhaps this is what I deserve. Robyn stares at him, truly stares. The man who had promised her safety now appears empty, as if the light behind his eyes has been extinguished. You don't get to be hated, she says softly. But you do get to confront the truth. She steps back, moving toward the hallway. I'm taking the kids to my sister's for a bit. I need to process. Kody nods, his voice cracking. Do what you must. The door closes on her. The ensuing silence is oppressive. That night, Meri goes back home. The rain has ceased and the sky shines with a subdued gold, the sort that follows a storm. She enters her living room, the walls familiar but with a new sort of peace. She produces a box of older photographs. The beginning, smiling faces, vacations. She pauses over one photograph. All of them together laughing before fame caught up to them. For an instant she questions, what if they'd remained uncomplicated? What if love had sufficed? But she knows. Love hadn't been the issue. Deception had. Her phone vibrates once more. A message from an unknown number. Meri, this is one of the producers. We'd like to do a special with you. Your story, your voice. She looks at it, then secures her screen. No more cameras, she mutters. No more scripts. She turns on her laptop instead and begins typing a journal entry. Day 1. No titles, no drama, just me. Days pass. The world moves on, but for the Browns, life has split in two, before and after the trial. Christine continues her quiet life, focusing on her children. Janelle opens a small business with her daughter. Both women keep their distance from Kody but remain grateful for Meri's courage. Robyn remains quiet, protecting her children from the media glare. Speculation runs rampant, but she says nothing. For once, Mom is more comforting than words. And Kody, the erstwhile proud patriarch, withdraws from the public eye. The man who used to boast of leadership and spirituality now confronts the toughest reality of all. His own legacy isn't the family he created, but the truth he sought to conceal. He goes by the courthouse one last time, not out of legal necessity, just to glimpse the space where it all went different. He sits in the vacant gallery, gazing at the witness stand. He says softly, I believed I could keep them safe by keeping the truth hidden. But I was actually hiding from myself. The sound of his voice grows distant. Weeks afterward, Meri provides a soft interview, not to a network, not to a talk show, but to a small online station that specializes in healing in the aftermath of trauma. She speaks quietly, truthfully. People believe the trial broke us. Maybe it did. But in some sense it saved me. For years I believed silence was strength. Turns out truth is. The interviewer nods. Do you forgive Kody? Meri hesitates. Forgiveness isn't saying it's okay. It's saying it won't control me anymore. So yes, in my own way I do. She smiles weakly. I just hope he learns to tell the truth before there's no one left to listen. That evening she drives to the family property they used to hope to build on, Coyote Pass. The sun sets behind the mountains, coloring the sky orange and violet. She gets out of her car with the wind rustling across her face. In the distance she can nearly hear laughter, remnants of the life she had. She speaks to the wind in a whisper. We loved, we lost, but now it's real at least. Her phone rings again, alerts pouring in. People on the internet saying she's brave, strong, inspiring. Meri smiles quietly, puts down the phone and just observes the sunset. There is no show for the first time in years. It is just peace. As the screen goes black, the narrator's voice wraps up the episode. Families shatter. Truth hurts. But courage, actual courage, is standing in the storm and speaking nonetheless. The Browns will never be the same perhaps, but maybe that is precisely the idea. Sometimes, in order to be free, you must lose all that made you quiet. A gentle instrumental builds in the background. Bittersweet, haunting, hopeful.